गुरुवरनाम पावननाम
ब्रह्मानंदं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि. I welcome you all with my love and respect to our home. I'll tell a small story, then I'll enter into the big story. First, a small story. I brought a small story for all of you. If I read it out, it will be really nice. Two guys are talking with each other. First guy is telling, this family of yours, did they all live together? The next guy is saying, yes, my father, my uncle, my cousin, my brother, my nephew, all of them used to sleep in one bed. Next guy is asking, what about your grandfather? No, he was also sleeping in the same bed, but he died. Because of that, they woke him up. They made him get up. If you look into our life little deeply, same thing happening. You may not sleep in the same bed, but you are sleeping in the same way. Please understand, we may not sleep in the same bed, but we are sleeping in the same way. In Sanskrit, we have a beautiful word, Pratyekatma Chaitanya Jagratam. Let me translate. The man who realized they are all sleeping, tradition, ages after ages, generation after generation in the same way. The man who suddenly realizes what is happening. My grandfather, my uncle, my cousin brother, my father, my aunt, everybody is sleeping in the same way. I am also sleeping in the same way. May not be same bed, but sleeping in the same way. The moment you realize that, your individual consciousness is awakened. You start traveling towards spiritual path. There's two Sanskrit words. The way of life, which is going towards the dukkha. The way of life, which is going towards the ananda. When you understand the way of life which is leading to dukkha is the life in which we are, immediately you awaken yourself. The awakening happens to you. The Pratyekatma Chaitanya Jagratam means the individual conscious awareness. You start realizing, you start thinking, what is going on? What am I doing? What is after all the whole thing? Then you enter into a life called spiritual life. Only then you enter into a life called spiritual life. As long as you don't understand you are sleeping in the same bed, may not be in the same bed but same way. Whatever we think our life, or whatever you think as spirituality, you will neither have life nor have spirituality. The moment you understand what is happening around me, I am just disappearing into the society. By and by, you forget your individual consciousness itself. You forget you are an individual. The initial level, when society forces conditionings on you, you try to resist little bit this way and that way. But by and by, because of your vested interest, maybe fear or greed, slowly, once you become habituated once you are settled, once you settle with the conditionings, we forget that we are conditioned. We start thinking we are the very conditioning itself. You forget the difference between you and your conditioning. You start taking your conditioning as you. Whatever is taught to you by the society, you start thinking that is your life. That is your society. You forget that you are an individual. The man who awakens to that intelligence, the man who starts thinking that what is going on around me, what am I doing? The moment you start thinking, you enter into spiritual path. Please be very clear. The moment you start thinking what is going on around me, wherever you are, you will start the spiritual life. Wherever you are, you will start the spiritual life. Whether you are in this country, in another country, or some other country, or some other space, the moment you start thinking, what is going on around me? What am I doing? Immediately you enter into the spiritual life. But as long as you don't start thinking that, wherever you are, you may be thinking that you are in a great spiritual place. You will not be spiritual. The basic condition to enter into the spiritual life is, what am I doing? What is happening around me? The man who starts thinking, he enters into the spiritual life. Whomsoever has started thinking in that way, they all have gathered here to create a spiritual home and spiritual community to satisfy their spiritual thirst and to share their wisdom or their master's wisdom to the whole world. So, hereby I deeply, intensely, with all my love, bless them to achieve success in their life and commitment, and pray to the ultimate divine energy to guide them all into the eternal bliss, Nityananda. And they will be an instrument. They will be creating base for all of you to come and have this spiritual wisdom and enjoy the spiritual ambience. Ramakrishna used to say beautifully, if you are standing long time in sun, if you come under a tree and stand in a shadow, it will really look, it will really feel great. Same way, once in a while you can come into this spiritual shadow. You are all welcome to enjoy the spiritual shadow. This concept of spiritual community is originated, it is given to the planet Earth by the Rishis. The Vedic Rishis, Vedic seers are the people who created this concept. Whether you believe it or not, accept it or not, man is social animal. Man is a social animal. Some way or other, he will create a small community around himself. He will create a small community around himself. And he will live only as a small groups. He cannot relate with the whole universe. So he needs a small group with which immediately he can relate. That is why I always tell people, first try to relate, try to love your family. I see all kinds of people. People come and tell me, oh Swamiji, I love the whole world. And I simply start laughing. Loving the whole world is very easy. Loving your wife is very difficult. That is where the difficulty will start. Loving the whole world is very easy. You don't need to do anything. Just go on repeating the same thing. I love the whole world. I love the whole world. Nothing needs to be done. It has no meaning. Small story. Again one small story. One judge and a priest. Both of them are sitting and talking. Suddenly they started arguing. Who is more powerful? Judge says, if I want, I can give death punishment, death sentence. He will be killed. Priest says, no, you can go only up to killing. I can say let him be damned. He will be put in the eternal hell even after death. Then judge says, you see, me telling let him be killed and you telling let him be put in the eternal hell. Words may look, but when I say it will be executed. The only difference is when I say it will be immediately executed. When you say, it is only word. Many times we don't know the meaning behind the words. We just use words. It's very easy. After all, free, no tax. And speech freedom. You have full freedom to speak whatever you want. Telling this, I love the whole world is very easy. Loving the whole world is very, very easy, I tell you. Start today itself. Because nothing needs to be done. All you need to do is just start repeating. And people are simply people will listen. So again and again, just like that, repeat, I love the whole world, I love the whole world. People will start believing. Saying I love the whole world is very easy. But really loving your family, loving your wife, that is where the real difficulty starts. Man as such cannot relate with the whole world. He has to relate only to small communities. Only through the community he can go to the world. He can reach the world. That is why whatever you may say, however your thinking may be forward, some way or other you will end up in creating a community. You will end up in creating a community. Somebody asked me in Brazil, they asked me in one discourse about the Indian community system. Why should there be community in India? Of course, I am not justifying, because there are a lot of mistakes happened in that system later on. So, community system as it is now cannot be justified, but why it is created and how it was helping the society, that I can express. First thing, Rishis, they know man as such cannot relate with the whole world. He will create a community. They wanted, let these communities be created based on intelligence. Otherwise, you will create based on money. That person asked me. I heard that higher caste people, they look at the lower caste people in a very degrading way. They disrespect. I said, of course that is true. But understand one thing. In the other countries, Western countries or so-called developed countries, get into the aircraft and walk through the first class to the economic class. How the person who is sitting in the first class looks at you. Tell me, the person who is sitting in the first class, how he looks at you? Beggar walking. They don't put anything in your because you don't carry any bowl in your hand. But what their eyes say, understand. Honestly start thinking what their eyes are expressing. Through their eyes they express very clearly, you are lower level being. In the other cultures, community is based on money. In Indian culture, community was created based on knowledge. 4 things. Man who shares his time is worker community. The man who shares products is a Vaishya, merchant community. The man who shares confidence, he is a Kshatriya, warrior community. The man who shares enlightenment is a Brahmana, the spiritual community. The community system was created. Communities are created in India based on wisdom, based on ideology. All over the world there are communities, no doubt. Some way or other there will be communities. But in India we created the community system based on wisdom, not based on wealth. In India, the person who is possessing the knowledge, wisdom, he is respected. He may be a beggar, ordinary beggar sannyasi who has nothing, but even a king will touch his feet. Even a king will touch his feet. Even if he is a king, he will fall at his feet. He has to fall at his feet. Socially, no other way. He has to sit at his feet. In India, we created the community system based on wisdom. The East created the community system based on spirituality and wisdom. That is the reason that society, there was no society which is invaded like India, which was invaded, and there is no society which never invaded like India. India is invaded by almost all the culture, but India never went outside to invade any culture. But still the culture is alive because the whole system is based on spirituality. The whole system is based on spiritual knowledge. All their community system is spiritual knowledge. Enlightened masters are the leaders of community. Enlightened masters are the leaders of the community. In the Bible there is a beautiful story. Some devotees requesting God, Genesis, please don't destroy this land. Then Genesis replies, Abraham requests. Then Genesis replies, if you can find 10 good persons in that country, I will not destroy that country. If you understand this Bible story, you will understand why India is still alive. The brother cultures of India, Babylonian culture, Greece, name whatever names you name, no culture is still alive. Indian culture is still alive. If Manu comes down, he will not find any difference. If he walks in our village streets, he will find only one difference, the TV box. Except that, he will not find any other difference. The backbone is still alive because of the spiritual communities. The spiritual communities are only called by the word ashram. Please understand, ashram is not monastery. Even though monks used to stay in ashrams, ashram is not monastery. You should understand the difference between these two. Monastery is the place where the monks live together and follow the teachings of some master. When a living master creates, he creates only ashrams. When master dies, they become monastery. As long as the master is alive, they are ashrams. The moment master is dead, on the tomb of the master, monastery is built. So be very clear, monastery is the place where monks live together and practice. And ashram is the place where monks also live, but it is not only for monks. It's a spiritual community. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasa. All 4 level people live together learning spirituality, having the spiritual wisdom in their life and how to live.